This is Dr. Chris of the Radio Horror, and I'm here with my review of The Purge Anarchy, the sequel to last year's The Purge. They made these films like back to back. This film has pretty much no cast in it. Last year's had Ethan Hawke and Lena Headey, who, if you watch our other review, which we posted, or has been posted, about 300 The Rise of the Empire, she's in like everything these days. But in this film, it's a entirely unknown cast, which I thought was great. The first film was a bunch of rich white yuppies trapped in a house during a home invasion, and a bunch of rich white yuppies trying to kill a black homeless man. What the fuck? Who cares? Ugh, boring. The idea that you can commit crime 24 hours a day for 1 day a year, March 22nd, is kind of cool. An original plot line. Would I condone it? No. And in this movie, that question is actually brought up very well. The Purge Anarchy asks a very important question. How awful are we as a society to contribute to the yearly purge? And I don't want to give a lot away, but it does surprise you when the government realizes something about the purge isn't quite doing what it's supposed to. We showed this film in Leominster. We gave away these awesome Purge t-shirts. Right here, you can see, if Pam will actually focus in a little bit, the stars and stripes of the American flag are actually guns and knives, weapons that you can be used in the Purge, which I thought was a really cool design. It's on the poster as well, as you can see behind me. This was a multi-character story arc. You had a mother and daughter whose father just gave himself up to a rich white yuppie couple to be killed off for insurance money. You had a man trying to avenge his son. That man is played by Frank Grillo, who played Crossbones in Captain America the Winter Soldier and could possibly play Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, in a Disney Punisher movie. You have Zach Gifford and Carmen Egidio. Zach Guilford, if I remember correctly, was actually just in The Last Stand and Devil's Due. He played the father in The Devil's Due. The Last Stand was this over-the-top Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that came out in January. I don't know if Pam saw it. Did you?
Which was it? The
Last Stand, where he plays the sheriff versus like all these criminals who come to his town. It's hilarious because it's Schwarzenegger at his best doing all sorts of wacky, crazy things. Blowing stuff up, and he's an old sheriff, and you know, it's just old school, great Schwarzenegger stuff. I mean, he is just like mowing people down, and good stuff. But yeah, if you saw The Devil's Due, it was a movie about a guy and his wife. They get kidnapped, and she gets impregnated by Satan, and found footage, 9-month pregnancy, horror movie, really stupid. But parts of it were okay, so I kind of happen to have to recommend it. But the actor Zach is in The Purge, and he's in this movie. He plays the husband of a husband-wife couple who are on the verge of divorce, and their car breaks down in the middle of the Purge. So there you go. You got 3 different plot lines, and also a little bit of Hostel involved in this. If you remember the series Hostel, where rich people can buy people to kill, that happens here in The Purge in a very interesting way. So they definitely took some elements from that. But again, multi-character story arc, not all the same. We also gave out some of these. These are Purge coasters. United, we purge. Of course, it's probably backwards in the video. And we also had Purge flashlights, too. Lots of stuff. They gave me 60 of these t-shirts and 7 packs of these things. It was unbelievable. Do I recommend seeing The Purge? Yes. If you hated the first one, I think you'll love this one. If you never saw the first one, doesn't matter. This movie stands up by itself. It has no connection to the first movie whatsoever. They will probably make a sequel because the movie did $28 million this weekend. It got beat off by the second weekend of Rise of the Planet or Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, but it was still a huge success. It was directed by James DeMonico, and he is also the writer of the movie. He's also worked on The Negotiator and the Assault on Precinct 13 remake. So if you like those films, you might like this because he's the writer of those films as well. And I thought The Negotiator with Samuel L. Jackson and Kevin Spacey was one of the best kind of thrillers I'd seen in many years. It's got a great premise. It came out like in 2000, so it's a kind of old film, 14 years. It was one of the first films in the new millennium. But if you like that film, then you'll love the new Purge movie. You definitely see his writing style there. There's a great twist ending to this movie. It's not like, oh my god, M. Night Shyamalan, they are afraid of water, the village is in the 21st century. No, nothing like that. But it's got a really cool ending, and not everyone is quite the way you think they are. You just gotta say through the whole movie, I do love the whole thing, God bless America, God bless the Purge. You know, it's very like, and they played the American theme song, the national anthem.
The American theme song!
The national anthem during the Purge. That's creepy. That's like in Dead Space when they play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. That is insanely creepy. I can't wait until they make another one of these movies, as long as they do it like this one, in a completely different film. You can commit any crime for 24 hours. You can go so many different ways with that. Home invasion movie we don't need to do again. What about cloning? What about abducting people off the streets for human experiments? That would be cool. Not in real life, but, you know, The Purge. But don't do a rape movie. Don't do a murder mystery. Do something different. There are so many crimes to commit. One of the cool things they do answer is, what about robbing a bank? Well, actually, all the banks move their money out of the banks.
Of course they do.
Yeah, so... but the government kind of conspiracy in The Purge, very cool. Hope it's explored. Hell, I wish they'd make a sequel that actually, the first time The Purge ever happens, the first day of The Purge. That would be really cool. If not, maybe not a whole movie, but maybe like a few mini web episodes. I don't think that would be great as a whole movie, because we've already got the point. But some mini web episodes of people reacting to like, oh, so this is the first day of The Purge. What do we do? Should I go kill my neighbor because he ran my dog over? Yeah, you're allowed to do it. It's your God-given right as an American. Kill your neighbor on the day of The Purge. This is Radio Horror. God bless America. God bless The Purge.